This meeting is being recorded.
So you were telling me, Judy.
Oh yeah, Renee, it was like life fluctuates. It has ebbs and flows, as we all know, and you have to be willing to change with it. And I remember a time where I had a really hard time. I was December, 2 weeks before Christmas, and I got laid off from a job. And it was the first job I had found down here in Florida that paid me significant wages, enough where I wouldn't have to work two jobs. So losing it was crushing to me. Needless to say, because it was Christmas time, no one was hiring other than part-time for retail. And into January, people aren't hiring either. And it took me 4 months without a job. Needless to say, I couldn't afford to make my house payments. Any money I got was just merely to keep the lights on, or the money I had saved is what I should say, et cetera. Just, put food on, just to exist, basically. So I had applied to the bank for forbearance, I think is what it's called, where they rearrange your payment and let you pay less for a certain amount of time till you get back on your feet. And I sold everything of value. Anything I had that was of value, I sold it. And that was just, like I said, to exist, to have money for gas, to look for a job, etc. I finally got a job in the toner world, selling toners. And at that point, it wasn't, $10 an hour, and you got like 25 cents a toner, whoop, whoop, or a buck a toner, something like that. It was nothing significant. It wasn't a percentage. So I knew there was no way I was going to be able to. Well, then I got a notice actually from the bank saying they wouldn't do the forbearance. So then that meant I had to say goodbye to my house, because there's no way with this job I could afford it. So I had to find another place to rent. So I went back from being an owner to renting. And yes, I could have let that defeat me, but I didn't. It's called life. Life is energy, and it fluctuates. It goes up and it goes down. And you have to be able to ride those waves and realize that it's not because you were evil or because you were stupid.
There's no story.
Pardon me?
There's no story. It's just
exactly.
Basically this happens.
It's that old, it happens.
Yeah.
People say S happens, and we all know what that means. I'm not going to swear. So anyway, I had to restart. And I looked at it as a fresh start. Well, in the meantime, while I'm looking for a place, then I finally found a place and I decided to move. And then I got the notice from the bank that they would do it. So I had to make a choice at that point. Do I want to stay in the old, or do I want to move on to the new? Is how I viewed it. And
how long had you been in your house when you knew
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Long, so you were attached to your house because you lived there for a big chunk of time.
I was, but then I wasn't, because it was a struggle the whole time I was there because of the job market down here and the lack of good wages. It's not like up north. Up north in US pays way better. And that's most of the problem when people move down to Florida. The job market, if you don't have a job, good luck. Because, well, just to give you an example, when I first moved down here to get into the insurance business, because I wanted a profession, I started out at $6 something an hour. And they told me that if I went and got my license, I could, and this was for selling insurance for autos and homes. They said if I went and got my license, I would get $7 an hour. Woohoo! Yeah, I know. And mind you, I had been a stockbroker up in Minnesota. So it was like night and day. the wages.
Yeah.
And it was like humble pie for me, really, to be honest with you. I ate a lot of humble pie. And I also had to go get a second job selling or delivering pizzas.
Yeah.
I called it my second job, but it actually turned out to be my main job down here for 9 years.
Wow.
Without that job, I would have never existed. Seriously.
Did you get free pizzas at the end of the day?
Oh, yeah. You got anything you wanted there. You could eat basically whatever you wanted. You know, but after you work there so long, you don't want pizza anymore. You don't. You really don't. Now, trust me. I mean, not saying you don't like it still, but you don't want to be eating that all the time.
Yeah.
So did you have a similar situation in your life?
Yeah, 2 weeks before Christmas, I lost my job, complete shock. And I was also in the process of splitting up and selling my house. So I ended up, like you, no job, nowhere to live, out of the old relationship. And it was like crazy times. But I ended up getting a job very quickly because I just went into total, got to get a job mode. And where I live, it's not that far from London. So we're probably like where you used to live. You had a lot more opportunities. So that wasn't the difficulty. I think the more difficult, it was more about having to work longer hours, like more compromise. I didn't get to actually live in my own house for, let me see, till past Easter, so like 4 months. That was tough. But I found it liberating. I found for a space in time when I didn't have a job and I didn't have a house, and I did have a child, so I was a single parent, but you know, children go with the flow much better than adults do, let's face it. I found there was like some freedom in just the focusing on, you know, not quite survival, but what's the priority here, and priorities become where do you live, or you know how do you cook your food or whatever. So yeah,
it's a struggle. Life can be a struggle.
Well, I remember at that point in time when I was someone let me stay in a house on my, you know, which didn't have any heating, and it was a very icy cold winter, and I was constantly cold. I just felt like I had cold bones. And the radiator in my car went, and I was on the phone to someone, and I got like really angry because it's like I had to get to work and my car wasn't working, and it's like, what else can happen right now? I couldn't wash my hair or do anything because actually the water was frozen in the sink. You know, it was quite crazy.
But yeah, and then also all the programming comes. I'm a loser. I'm worthless. I'm, you know, all of that factors in. How did I get in this situation? You know, boy, am I stupid, or where did I go wrong? And the victimhood sets in, I guess, is what I'm saying. The why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? Da, 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 that type of stuff. Don't you think that?
I experienced that in the beginning. It's like, wow, there's a lot happening here all at the same time. But after that, I was like, is it really that bad? Because like you, I chose to move out of my house that I was in, you know, because you could have gone back when the bank turned around and said they'd accept forbearance. You could have gone back to your house. But similar, I chose to move out of mine because I thought, no, I'm going to have a fresh start. It's just the bit in the middle that I hadn't planned properly. And it was a fresh start when I got there. It was completely different. And I'm not one to look back and think, oh, well, maybe you should have done it this way. So yeah, I think when you're handed a set of circumstances which are not what you expected or what you were planning, sometimes it really works out for the better.
Oh yeah, well, it's all how you deal with it and how you look at it. Yeah. You know, you can't go into the victimhood. you might wallow in it for a little while, but you are only allowed a day or
Yeah.
two of that. And then it's called, all right, get up. What am I going to do now? What are my options?
Yeah.
What can I do? How can I make this better? And it's like almost like a survival instinct kicks in.
Mm.
And you're a survivor. You have been this whole time, and you're going to do it again. And so then that's when you start looking at other options and rebuilding and changing, going with the, like, I could have stayed. What would have happened to me if I had stayed, or you stayed for that matter? You know, we chose to leave. Our lives probably would have been totally different if we had stayed. How do we know that this wasn't life showing us move on? It's time to move on, let go and move on. We were screaming and kicking
Yeah.
at the time, but it was still move on.
Yeah. So what would you, Judy, what like advice would you give to someone else if they, I mean, there are many people in this situation every day of the week.
Well, first of all, victimhood is just that, victimhood. It'll kill you. Victimhood is no way to live. And a lot of people are living in victimhood. The why this, why that, why this.
Why me?
Yep, exactly. That's what I mean. Why did this happen? Why me? Why is this happen? And I mean, I've been there, and I know you've been there. That's how we can speak about it, because we've been there and we don't go there anymore. Victimhood is done. No more. I'm not a victim. Right?
Yes, it does creep in now and then, where I think, why is this happening? It does creep in still.
Mine's gone totally. I
Yeah.
have to admit, I don't even have little moments of that anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is recognizing, at least for me, just who we are,
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
we all are, that we're all spiritual beings. And
we created this.
exactly everything in our life, and that's the hardest part. Coming out of victimhood is to accept that everything in your life you created.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and ugly. It's all created by you. And people are like, I didn't do that to me. Why would I do that to me? You did, trust me, because I was like that. I was like, why would I, but it's all for a reason. And I can honestly say I wouldn't trade it. Do I want to go back to that place? No. But I wouldn't trade it at this point, because it's opened the door and it opened my eyes to everything. And I have to admit, my life is pretty nice right now. Right? How about yours?
Is my life pretty nice? Some days I think, wow, it's really good. Things are cushy. And other days I think, oh, this is too hard. I just want to, those days when you don't want to work, or you don't want to do anything, but you've got to do it. So
Yeah, I think everyone experiences that.
they're not bad days. They're just,
it's the old up and down. It's like riding a roller coaster.
yeah.
You're going to get to the top, and then you're going to drop down to the bottom at times. And then it's what you do when you get to the bottom that counts. Seriously.
Yeah. I'm nowhere near the bottom, I can assure you.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you go down, when you have that dip where you don't feel like doing this or doing that or whatever.
Okay, so if your bottom raises as you raise your
right.
I'm going to say awareness and consciousness, but it's not just that. It's as you raise your own vibration, so your own, almost like your outlook. So for instance, if you're at the bottom, you're like, oh, this is terrible, I'll never be able to get out of this situation. Then you raise up a bit and you think, well, it's not so bad, and you start moving out of the overwhelm and the pity, or self-pity, poor me.
Well, a good example I think of this is the gas prices.
Yeah.
Our gas prices here have gone up. They come down, I guess. I don't even pay attention. And people are like, what do you mean you don't pay attention? Why would I pay attention? You're going to pay it regardless of what price it is. So why are you going to get your undies in a bunch over what the price of gas is? Seriously, because at bottom line, you're paying it. It's like one lady was saying to me, oh, it's outrageous, da, 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 you know, on and on and on. And I said to her, are you ready to ride a bike everywhere? I said, because I'm certainly not. And she goes, no. And she kind of laughed and she goes, no, I'm not. And I said, so why not? And this is habit. We're trained to be like this. This is programmed. We'd rather focus on all the negative, like, oh my God, the gas prices, they're so outrageous. They're going to reach this amount before this time. Instead of thinking, how lucky I am that I drive. How lucky I am that I have a vehicle. How lucky I am that I can get gas.
How lucky you are that you have a license that you can drive, because
exactly, that's another. See, people take all these things for granted. They think that driving isn't a privilege, that it's a right, and it's not. It is a privilege. And a lot of people don't remember this because they weren't around, but back in the 70s, we had gas lines where you sat in your car for an hour waiting to get to the gas pump because there was a shortage and hoping to God it didn't run out before you got there. You could have waited in that line for an hour, and when you got to the pump, oh, we're out. So the bottom line is it's all how you look at it. It's that old glass half empty or half full. And it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. People don't want to believe that because then they got to be responsible for their own situations. But everything in life is a choice. You choose this or you choose that.
So the way I got it as you were talking then, Judy, is like a wave oscillating, so like a sound wave. So instead of you having the big, deep sort of wave up and down, it oscillates at, with less depth. So you're not fluctuating in your vibration so much. You're keeping a more even keel. And as you do that, things around you have less impact on you because you're not going flapping, if you like. You're more, if you're up or down, it's not.
It's like, oh, that's just a little bump in the road. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Next.
So you're actually closer to being in the flow.
All the time. And the more you work on it, or choose, I should say, it's not even work. It's all choice on how you look at things. You can everything you can look at as bad or as good. Everything. I don't care what it is. You can find a bad and a good. And it's just that simple. And it's like so simple, people don't get it.
So really, okay, the best thing you can do is stop thinking, oh, this situation's good or that situation's bad, and just flow with it and say, oh, what's this showing me? What's this telling me? Oh, what do I see here? Oh, how am I reacting? Or what's going on? Just ask yourself these questions, and having your own, witnessing your own reactions and the way you're thinking and feeling, and
right, and being aware.
Showing up to things. Yeah, all that awareness is going to help you to flatten these fluctuations in your.
And you're always going to have
vibration.
You aren't going to be alive if you don't have them. Let's be real. You won't be living life. You'll be just living safely, never stepping outside the box if you don't have them. I don't care who you are. You have the fluctuations. We're all energy vibrating at different frequencies, and it's going to happen. It's just energy is constantly changing. It never stays the same, ever. It's always changing.
In
Never
fact,
destroyed.
if you try and keep hold of things, then actually you're using up too much energy on trying to keep things the same.
Yeah. So it is. It's all a choice, and it's all how you deal with it. It really is. And it's not any magic potion. It's just, that's what I mean, how many courses have we taken? How many years have we studied this? I mean, I've been doing it since 2010. And I mean, I've done like everything you can imagine. How about you?
I've done a lot. I've done probably since, like, for the last 10 years anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, this is what we've come to realize, correct? That
Yeah.
it's all you and what you choose and how you look and how aware and how, you could look at it like, oh, this is horrible, or, oh, this is a new opportunity for me. What am I supposed to see or realize from this? What can I gain from this?
Mm.
Like I said, it's a different way of, oh my God, gas prices are outrageous, to, I'm lucky I even can get gas. I'm lucky I even have a vehicle.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I can afford
Right.
it, whatever price it is.
Well, lucky you have a vehicle. There's lots of people that don't have a vehicle. That they can't, the price of gas doesn't matter to them because they don't even have a car. And then there's those people that don't even know how to drive. So it's all your perception, basically,
Mm.
and a perspective too. So it's change, change, change. And we as humans don't like change. We've been taught not to like change. And change is good. Everyone's got to stop thinking that change is bad. Change is good. Change is what makes life exciting.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
I do.